Hello and welcome to Konkan University International College. Today we'll be telling you a little bit about our international affairs and global business programs. We'll be starting with the global business program and we'll start by asking members of the faculty to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. Kim.
Yes. Hello everyone. I'm Ajahn Kim, or my full name is Suwathana Sawadasuk. I'm alumni of KKU in Humanities and Social Science faculty, and then I finished my master degree in Australia University of Wollongong about international business, and then I have some experience about marketing research in Bangkok about the food company for about a few years, and then come back to my hometown in Khon Kaen to teach students in KQIC.
Thank you. And Dr. Chris.
Hi, I'm Dr. Chris. I got a PhD in financial economics from the University of California at Santa Barbara, and received an MBA in international business from l'École nationale des Ponts et Chaussées in Paris. I taught in London at Imperial College for several years after that, but I moved to Bangkok about 15 years ago to work as a financial analyst, and I've worked in and out of Thailand for the last 15 years in both private business and in continued university work.
Thank you, Chris. Dr. Mark.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Mark, and I have a doctorate degree in international law and international business law, an undergraduate degree in international business as well as languages, both from well-known U.S. universities. My life has been spent in international business, in global business, as an executive at large public companies as well as small companies. So I have many years of experience all over the world, particularly in Asia, in several different aspects of business, technology and commodities and many other aspects.
Okay, thank you, Mark. And my name's Peter Masters. I have an MBA in Hotel and Tourism. One of my first jobs was at the United Kingdom Mission to the United Nations in New York, which was quite an eye-opener. After that, I went back to Australia to work in the family business, and I followed that up with working as a investment manager with some pension funds. I moved to Thailand about 9 years ago, and I worked for a few years at a university in Bangkok, and very happily have come out to Konkan University International College. Okay, let's start about global business. Dr. Mark, can you describe the curriculum in global business and tell us why it's one of the leading undergraduate courses in Thailand?
Yes, certainly. The curriculum is really unique in undergraduate curriculums because it is a highly international global curriculum, which is of keen interest to myself and many other faculty members because we are all highly internationally trained. And it's quite rare to have a curriculum like this at an undergraduate level because most of these kinds of programs are in MBA and advanced doctoral studies in universities. So in that respect, it's very unique. The other thing that's interesting about it is we try to combine a high achievement of academic standards and at the same time give students a real broad exposure to real-life projects, case studies, and doing actual business, which is, I think, another very, very unique aspect of our program. You won't find a lot of programs that allow students to actually go out and succeed and make mistakes in business in real projects, and we try to do that, and we'll describe that more.
Thanks, Mark. Chris, would you like to add something to that?
I'd just like to say that I've worked at many highly regarded universities at different countries throughout the world. And in many of those universities, there's a big emphasis on research conducted by faculty members. I think at this university, at KKUIC, I think we have a different kind of faculty. We have people that have real-world experience, and they're bringing that into the classroom. So rather than getting faculty members that are sort of doing their own thing, I think the faculty here are very engaged with their students and pushing them in directions that I think will help them in their own futures.
True. Next, Kim, you're the Acting Assistant Dean for Student Development.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about the Student Activity Program?
Yes. Next year, we have a plan that the projects or the activities that students can be engaged. We will have more activities that involve with the international program in other faculty in KKU. For example, about the sport competition, or it can be about English contest that the student can use their competency in English to compete each other in this area. Yeah, and one more thing. It will be interesting for the international student that who come to study in Khon Kaen. They will have some experience in cultural trips that we're going to arrange for them in the next year.
Okay. Further to that, could you tell us the mix between Thai students and international students and the kind of countries that the students are coming from?
Yep. Right now, we have about 65% from which are Thai students, and the rest will be foreign students, and mostly from China and Vietnam, and there are some students from Western countries as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark, could you tell us about some of the projects that you've had your students do and what you hope the students will gain from the experience, etc., they'll gain from that?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'd like to just tell a little bit about the methods that I use in my lectures, which is more of a Socratic method, which is more of an American teaching style, which is that we ask the students to discover for themselves what they're going to learn. It's a little bit more difficult, but once they get the hang of it, they adapt incredibly well, and they learn a lot more thoroughly and a lot deeper than you'd find in just a lecture-only format. Secondly, some of the real-world projects that we've done have been really fun, and we let the students choose their projects within frameworks to make sure that they possess the elements of academic excellence that we want them to have. But for example, this term we had one student whose family has a very well-known famous candy company, one of the oldest in Thailand, and what we've done is design an export program. His project was to design an export program to the American market. It's been a very big project, and it's actually going to be working. We're going to continue it next semester, and he'll be a star in his family's company, so we're excited about that. We have another student who's involved in a real media project, doing advertising and media business. So we do a lot of these kinds of projects. We try to make them as real as possible, and sometimes they are real.
Okay, I'd like to add to that. I guess you'd say my style is more of a tutorial style. You said yours is the American, I guess mine's the Australian, British way of more tutorial based rather than standing at the front lecturing. I have the students prepare subjects, different groups of students prepare for the subject, so they are doing the teaching at the start, and then I'm directing the rest of the class through asking questions and them asking questions of the students who have done the presentation, so the students are learning from other students rather than the mindset that the lecturer is boring, so the lecture is going to be boring and not taking any notice, but that tends to work. And the project that I was involved in this term was actually a research project of my own, but I asked some of the students, we had 12 of the business students, come in to assist, and they became research assistants by going and coming with me into Bangkok and asking tourists to complete questionnaires. And the feedback from the students was they gained quite a lot from that, certainly confidence and some cultural knowledge, I would say. Next to Chris, sorry?
Oh, I was just going to add that speaking of gaining confidence, one of the things that I really focus on, and I focus on my entire professional life, is leadership development. And I really want these kids to learn how to be leaders, every one of them. So we encourage that, all of us do, give them the tools where they can emerge and really be leaders.
I sort of related to that. I think it's important that the kids not only learn things, but they really learn why things work the way that they do. And it's something I always work with my kids. I don't want to just tell them that, this is the answer, this is how it's done. It's important to me that they understand why things are done the way that they are. I think that's really the key to learning, but also getting engaged in a career and a way of living.
Is there a particular skills that you'd like the students to be leaving when they graduate? They have these particular skills?
Well, I like them to be job ready when they leave, whatever that means exactly. But I want to get away just from the abstract thought to actually applied work, where when they go into a business, they're ready to work from day one. That involves, of course, a lot of computer work and the sorts of projects and things that you've been describing.
Okay. Mark, could you tell us about, are there any other courses that are offered here at KKUIC?
Yes, there are certainly the International Affairs, and I think that will be the next program coming up that you'll be interviewing. I just wanted to mention a few words about Pete. He didn't have time to introduce himself, but he is a well-accomplished lecturer, an MBA, and he joins us in the business faculty as one of our finest lecturers as well. So I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to be with us today.
Okay, now I'd like to introduce two of the lecturers from the International Affairs Department, and we'll start with Mr. Jan Flint.
Good morning. My name is Jan Flint, as Peter has mentioned. I'm a lecturer on the international affairs side, teaching international diplomacy and globalization studies. But my background is I have had 25 years with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of New Zealand, and a number of years negotiating trade agreements, for example. After I left the New Zealand government, I worked for 3 years at the Mekong Institute, and now I'm happy to be lecturing here at Kon Kin University to help Thai students become part of our globalized world.
Thank you, Jan. And Dr. Edo.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Dr. Edo Andries, and as we say in the Thai language, I am a Luk Krung, so that means I have a Dutch father and Indonesian mother, but actually I've lived all my life in the Netherlands, and except for the last 2 years I've been working here at KKUIC. I teach principles of economics and sustainable development and a couple of other courses as well.
Okay, thank you. Jan, there are very few universities in Thailand offering degrees with international affairs as a major. Can you tell us about some of the courses that are available in the international affairs program at KKUIC?
Certainly. It's a modern course, if you like. There's a number of universities overseas offering this course, but as you say, very few here in Thailand. It's an interdisciplinary course. We cover quite a large number of different disciplines. We look at international politics, the whole business of power and nuclear proliferation, those kind of issues. We look at international economics, what makes countries strong, trade policies, trade practices, international political economy. And then there's a number of multidisciplinary subjects like international diplomacy, international organizations, globalization studies. So it's quite a range of courses, all of which addressing different aspects of the ways in which countries and people from different countries interact and need to work together in our globalized world.
Okay, thank you. Edo, the student base we have at KKUIC is made up of quite a variety of different nationalities. Could you talk about this in relation to your views about Southeast Asia, Southeast Asia's position in international affairs?
Yeah, thanks. I think it's very interesting nowadays for our students coming from all over Southeast Asia, but even from other parts of the world, to see how the world is changing. And we have now, of course, the power of the US is, according to some, a bit declining, and we have the emergence of China and maybe later on of India as economic and political power. So it's very interesting, and also interesting to see that how should Southeast Asia cope with this. Southeast Asia is, of course, dependent on the USA in terms of security, but in terms of economic development, it's progressing more towards China and maybe later on India as well. So that's interesting and also quite a difficult topic, actually, because each country has its own version on how to find a balance between the new world powers.
Okay. Well, as an American, Mark, would you like to have a comment on that?
Sure. I'm always everybody's favorite whipping boy. We do enjoy a position of being both the most loved and most hated, perhaps, country in the world. But I've tried to impart to the students a sense of impartiality. And I've lived all over the world. I've worked all over the world, many years in Russia, in China, many places in the world. So when I do bring that experience with me, and also a much more tempered and even mannered kind of a view of a world power's position. And I was just wondering, how do you, what is interesting about teaching Thai students this method of looking at the world from so many different views, from so many different angles? It's something new for Thais, isn't it, in your experience?
It is really, because much of the news we see, for example, on television, or we read about in the newspaper, is often ethnocentric. It often presents the point of view of the TV channel of the country where the news is being given. But we're here trying, as I don't represent a country, I'm from a very small country called New Zealand, and we have a very different view of the world from both Thailand and from Mark, for example, in the United States. And we're always trying to find a middle path, a way which is peaceful and safe, and in which smaller countries and poorer people are able to develop as well as industrialized countries. But there's no particular problem in teaching Thai citizens who are interested in the world. If they're interested in the world, we can help them, hopefully, understand the world a little bit better and why it works the way it does.
Well, I was thinking, Pete, you teach security. What are the issues for Thailand in this security sphere?
Well, I guess the one the students quite often bring up is the current or ongoing dispute over the temple, Priya Veneer, is the Australian way of saying it. I'm not sure the correct way, where it's an ongoing dispute, and I think that's more of a pride issue more than anything. And the other issue that they often want to talk about is the border with Myanmar, with Burma. So they're probably the two most relevant international security issues as far as Thailand is concerned. Further to that, Jan, international politics and international relations are quite sensitive subjects, or certainly can be. How do you deal with the issues affecting the different countries, considering that we have students from a number of the countries that may be involved in the subjects we're teaching?
Sure. Well, we certainly have quite a range of students from different parts of the world, and each student will bring a different perspective to international studies, because to some extent we're all moulded by our politicians, by the news we see on our television sets. So we come with preconceptions very often about who is right and who is wrong, whether an invasion was justified or not on human rights grounds or weapons of mass destruction grounds, whatever it might be. But this is an academic institution. Our aim normally is to adopt as objective and academic approach as possible. We certainly don't take any line of any of the major powers, or indeed of the government of Thailand. We explore the facts as best known, and we try and interpret those facts to help explain what is happening in the world so that students can understand better, perhaps, Thailand's role in the world as a medium power. There's a very important role for medium powers in the world, particularly through Thailand's case. Its membership of ASEAN is very important to Thailand in many ways. And we try and encourage students to always think of the other side's point of view. There's many perspectives on international relations, how conflicts arise, why some countries are becoming more powerful than others, why some systems of economics make some people richer, or maybe some countries richer than other countries. But we're trying to understand those in an objective way.
Jan, I was wondering, what about hot topics like WikiLeaks? Everybody's talking about WikiLeaks. Is this a good thing or a bad thing for diplomacy?
It will change the way diplomacy is done to some extent. Good thing or bad thing? Transparency is normally a good thing, but if it inhibits the flow of information to governments, which makes the making of good decisions by individual governments more difficult because they're either getting less information or less accurate information, less personalised information sometimes, it may in fact impact on how good the strength of the decisions made by some governments.
Well, certainly my students are discussing it. I assume, Ado, yours are? And
Yeah.
Pete?
Yeah. Well, how do you deal with that if the students are wanting to talk about?
I make sure they examine all sides of the issue, the freedom of speech and the undermining of the diplomatic community processes. It's a dual-edged sword, I agree. I love free speech, and at the same time I see how damaging this is. And the students are examining all sides of that. In fact, we just had a final exam question on that very issue, and we'll see how they did. I haven't read their essays yet.
Sure.
That's one of the good things about the way that we teach this course, or certainly in our subjects, is that when there's an event that's happening at the time, we're quite free to bring that in and make it relevant to the topic we're on, or to introduce it as a new topic, because something like WikiLeaks is very important, so it would be remiss if we didn't to bring it in.
This is very true. There's not many subjects you can study at a university where the newspaper and the evening news broadcast of international news is your textbook. It's a living, changing subject. Every week the world is a little bit different from the week before.
Yeah.
And students respond well to that.
Yeah.
They generally enjoy the modernity, if you like,
Yeah.
of the subject we're teaching, and we try and give it a very practical, very immediate impact in the way we teach it.
Technology makes it a little easier for us, I guess, now with podcasts and Al Jazeera, etc., all being available on
Very
the
true.
cable TV.
Very true.
Edo, what kind of work and jobs might students be able to go on to after graduating from here?
Yeah, there are actually a range of jobs that students can take up, or even internship before that. Well, of course, first is governments, national governments, or regional governments, or local governments. And then for some might be able to work for companies who have international operations, or even some smaller companies. And then I also know that some students like to work for NGOs, for example, at the border between
Yeah.
Myanmar and
There's
Thailand.
certainly some talk amongst the students with NGOs as well.
And then there's a range of other international organizations, the governmental ones, the SCAPs, the United Nations, the World
Yeah.
Health Organization, and regional, ASEAN and so on too.
Which they learn a lot about in International Affairs course at KKUIC.
That is our aim.
That is our aim. All right, thank you very much for coming along, and thank you to everyone. Hope we've told you a lot and all you need to know about global business and international affairs at KKUIC. And if you have any more inquiries, please go to the website and contact us. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. All the best.
Ring my bell.